Hello everyone. Well, this has been a really fun week. I got to talk with most of you about how your projects are going, especially your problem statements, and you gave me some ideas, and we talked at one of the things that we came up with is almost everyone wanted to collapse our 3 committees into 2 committees, and so we've done that, and it looks like that's going to be effective for this week beginning week 6. So that's occurred. I'm also, as you can see, wanting to highlight the sign-up sheets for advisement in Twin Falls and Boise. Dr. Rob will be in Boise on Tuesday the 27th, and that's Twin Falls, Tuesday the 27th, and then he'll be going to the Treasure Valley area, Meridian and CWI, etc., for advisements for and other things for the 28th and the 30th. And then Dr. Robin will be back in Twin Falls on October 5th. So there are sign-up sheets, there are links for sign-up sheets for those advisement opportunities. And I also want to let you know that the College of Education is having a barbecue event in Idaho Falls on the 27th. That's live and in person at the Benyon cafeteria or bistro area in the multi-purpose room or just outside the multi-purpose room on the patio. So that's going to begin at 5 o'clock, and I'll love to have you there. Again, that's on Tuesday the 27th. And we'll do the same thing in Twin Falls in the Desert Building and Desert Cafe from 5 o'clock until 7 o'clock. That's in Twin Falls on the 28th on Wednesday. So any of you who are in those 2 areas, please plan to attend. Okay, so then let's move down to this week and talk a little bit about, as we go into week 6, we're going to, this I want you to know is perhaps the most important week of the semester with regard to what we're going to construct. The purpose statement is so central to what our projects are and the way that they are tightly constructed. The purpose statement matters so very much. As a matter of fact, the purpose should be a small capsule that describes what the study is, the specific target area, the target participants or population of the study, and it also pretty much puts a fence around your study. It, for all intents and purposes, is the compass for your study. It says your trajectory and really what's in your study and what's not in your study. That's just how important our purpose statement is. We're also going to write our questions. Our questions should have a handshake agreement with the purpose. As a matter of fact, particularly with a qualitative purpose, it's sort of like Jeopardy. And please state your purpose in the form of a question, and that gets the questions. So just want you to have in mind how important what we are doing this week. So let's just take a look at that. The purpose statement, research questions. We've got an introduction here. I want you to take a look closely at how Cresswell really puts together a template for writing the purpose statement. In chapter 6, he addresses the purpose, I believe, for the qualitative purpose, and then does the very same thing in chapter 7 for a quantitative purpose. So the quantitative questions, and then we'll craft our questions. For quantitative, craft 2 to 3 questions. For qualitative, craft 1 central, what's referred to as a grand tour questions. out of which sub-questions will derive. And those sub-questions, we'll state them first as academic questions, and then later we will massage them into informal questions that we would actually use in casual spoken language and put them on an interview protocol in the way that we would actually talk with our participants, our interviewees. So that's what we're about for this week. And just to give us a sense of what that looks like, let's go back to the studies that we reviewed last week. We'll start with the Gutierrez study. We had the problem statement, if you recall, that was Mexican American women often cite racism, sexism, economic factors, and family obligations, as well as a lack of support networks, role models, and mentors as barriers to further educational and occupational attainment. Recall that we've now indicated our streams of literature when we are looking at particularly Hispanic, Latina, or Mexican American women, and as they cite various barriers and what those barriers might be. Racism, sexism, economic factors, and family obligations, as well as lack of support networks, role models, and mentors. So those are barriers specific to education and barriers for occupational attainment. So those name areas in which we would look for our research. Now let's look at our purpose. The purpose, and remember that this is our compass. It describes what's inside the study, and what's left out is what is not part of our study and that we possibly could recommend for other people to study in order for us to avoid those interesting little rabbit trails that will take us completely off track for our study. Our purpose, which I encourage you to tattoo on the inside of your arm, as well as put it on your computer, put it on your mirror so that you see it very often. The purpose of this study is to describe, case studies always describe, the purpose of, and we could even write the purpose of this case study is to describe the cultural, social, and economic factors related to occupational aspirations of Mexican American women, and she specified attending a South Texas community college. And she adds, because this is qualitative, as perceived by study participants. We add that last piece for qualitative because this is not generalizable. It is a study of specific participants' perspectives. So let's read this again. The purpose of this study, we always want to start with that. The purpose of this study is to describe, remember case studies describe, the cultural, social, and educational factors related to occupational aspirations of Mexican American women attending a South, and she's really confined this. This is a delimitation. She's delimited to a South Texas community college. That's where her participants will come from, as perceived by the study participants. So this is how you're going to want to write a qualitative purpose statement. Let's look at the question then. This is a grand tour question. We write only one grand tour question for a qualitative study. What relationship exists between the socioeconomic, cultural, and educational experiences of Mexican American women attending a South Texas community college and their occupational aspirations? So she's pointing out, she wants to investigate the relationship existent between the social, economic, cultural, and educational experiences of Mexican American women attending a South Texas Community College and their occupational aspirations. Now notice relationship exists is also a way that we can write a quantitative study if we're doing a survey or a descriptive study. In this case, we're interested in a qualitative case study, and it's going to be related to, we're going to come to themes as our descriptors. We could also write what describes the socioeconomic, cultural, and educational experiences of Mexican American women attending a South Texas community college related to their occupational aspirations. And you could even add the tag that we added here, as perceived by the study participants. So there are different ways we can write this grand tour question. This works. We can also write it in other ways. All right, let's look at a survey. A survey is a little different. So in this particular study, remember our problem, the problem addressed by this quantitative descriptive study, we know we're going to be conducting a survey here, was the lack of statistics related to continuing professional education choices made from 2007 to 2011. So we've got a time period that's a delimitation here, inclusive, by certified public accountants employed by public accounting firms in Idaho Falls, another delimiter. So we're interested here in this problem with the statistics, the numbers or percentages related to continuing professional education choices. This is the kind of professional continuing education, or the professional development credits available, choices available, and those choices actually chosen by CPAs that are employed in public accounting firms in a specific community. So what's our purpose statement then? The purpose addressed by this quantitative descriptive study was to identify or describe, we could do it either way, statistics related to continuing professional education choices made from 2007 through 2011 inclusive by CPAs employed by public accounting firms. So they notice how closely the problem marries up, that the purpose marries up with the problem. As a matter of fact, you could say, here's the situation that is causing us to wonder what's happening here, and therefore the purpose that we've chosen, the way we're going to approach this study, is by a quantitative descriptive study to identify those statistics wanted. There's a lack here, we're going to identify them, related to, we've still got the continuing professional education choices made, and it's inclusive through this delimiter that we've set by CPAs employed, the same delimiters of who our participants will be, by the public accounting firms in Idaho Falls, Idaho. And so let's look at our research questions then. We have 5. Remember that 2 to 3 is all we need. This particular individual chose to include 5. Her questions are, do CPAs employed by public accounting firms, and notice that many questions related to quantitative are going to be yes, no questions. They are never yes, no questions when it's qualitative. So just have that in your mind. Do CPAs employed by public accounting firms in Idaho Falls, Idaho have a preference among internet-based, live and in-person, and correspondence? So do they have? We could say, what are the preferences among? So that's another way we could have done that. Then number 2, how are the CPA preferences in CPA delivery methods, if any, distributed by age? Some of them are online. So are the older ones choosing online? This is one of the things Laura is interested in. How did CPAs learn of, and this is the professional organization who created the new choices, the 2006 expansion to 23 CPA subject areas. Was it a magazine? Was it word of mouth? What was it? In which of the 23 CPE subject areas have CPAs employed by public accounting firms in Idaho Falls, Idaho, practiced in the past 5 years? So, of the 23 areas, are they tax accountants? Are they, do they do, what is their area? In which of the 23 CPE subject areas have CPAs employed by public accounting firms in Idaho Falls attended? So she's real interested in the employment areas and the professional development areas. Do they match up? If you're a tax accountant, are you taking a tax subject area CPE? So these are the questions. Notice how tightly they relate to the purpose, and that's wanted on purpose. Alrighty then, this is what our project is for this week, and this is what we will be discussing in our discussion area. So we're going to have just one question. What makes each purpose statement serve as a compass for the topic, and how tightly does the research question, or do the research questions fit with the purpose statement? So first, we have to have some posted, don't we? We now have 2 committees, and in our committee area, we have 2 committees, as you can see, Committee 1 and Committee 2. And here's what we're going to be discussing. All right, let's get started. I'm looking forward to your purpose statements this week.